Class, and welcome to ECS 116's Childcare Routines and Observation Analysis Assignment Instructions. This video is going to go over the guidelines for the assignment, the grading rubric, and also I'll briefly discuss the observation site. So right here on your screen we are in Canvas, and I wanted to show you that we are under the Assignments tab. And you can see we have 3 documents here. So the first one is the Observation Analysis Guidelines. The second would be the grading rubric, and the third is a list of observation sites. So you are not limited to the sites on the list. I just give you those sites because they have a kind of an unofficial agreement with our program on accepting our students for our particular assignments. If you do go outside of the list, you will need to email me and let me know, because I do need to know where the students are in the community, and also that we have a couple of applicable laws in regards to immunizations. So you as a student might have to meet some of those requirements going into the community. So make sure you check the list, and also that you would call in advance to make that appointment. So we're going to go ahead and review the guidelines. So here's our guidelines form. First we'll go over the purpose, followed by the summary. So the purpose of this assignment is for you to observe an infant or toddler age child for a minimum of 1 hour. So I have had students email me and ask if they can observe a preschooler, and unfortunately I have to say no, because the real importance of this assignment is observing how there is a connection between home and the childcare environment, particularly around the routines of diapering, eating, and sleeping. So know that you're going to have to arrange for an hour outside of your homework time to be able to either go to a home-based center, which is a family child care, or one of the centers I have listed on the observation list. So during the observation, I'm asking for you to take notes, and I use these terms objectively document. So what that means is I just want you to write down what you see and hear. I'm not interested in your analysis at that point. We're going to do that as part of the paper. So your notes should be very objective, just fact-based. So you're also looking at the child's routines. I already mentioned that those could be things like diapering, eating, drop off or pick up, putting a child to sleep. And I'm asking that you observe a minimum of 2 of the routines listed. So when you complete your observation, I want you also to have time to interview the caregiver, and I have some questions from a list that you're going to ask them. So when you submit this, I'm asking you to submit a copy of your observation notes, and I'm going to ask you to type up a paper where you analyze the results of your observation and your interview. So this assignment is really important because I'm asking for you also to make connections with course materials in the paper. So it can't just be your opinion. You have to back your opinion up with fact. And we also are using the APA formatting style. So the assignment is worth 50 points. And this assignment also assesses the student learning outcome number 1 that you can check on your syllabus. So in summary, you're going to prepare by reading chapters 5 in your Minna textbook. That's the tiny yellow one. Also, there's 3 articles that I have within the module or the unit for you to review. And I'd also like for you to complete the group discussion number 6 in module 5. So I'm going to ask that you post and respond prior to doing the assignment. That way you have some contextual knowledge for when you go out and do the observation. So you are going to have to arrange to meet at that local licensed childcare facility or family daycare home to observe those routines, and that you will need to let them know when you contact the center or the family daycare home that you would like to have an interview with the teacher. I do not accept emailed interviews. One is academic integrity. I need to make sure that the person you're interviewing is actually the teacher. And 2, I think that we lose some of the value of that personal interaction that we have through conversation and body language and those types of things. So since you're already there to do the observation, see if you're able to arrange that time. It may be concurrently with the observation, or it might be that you need to arrange a time to return. So based again on the observations and the interview data, I'm going to have you analyze your findings, and you're going to type up that reflective paper. So here again is the information about preparing. I did want to point out here that when you do go to the center, prior to going, I ask that you call them first and that you set a date and a time or an appointment for your visit. When you go, it is super important that you take a copy of your syllabus, you take a copy of these assignment guidelines, and photo identification. So your photo identification can be your student, a current valid student ID, or it could be a state issued ID such as a driver's license or California identification card. If you're not able to make that appointment, I'm asking for you to reschedule. So please do not just not show up. When you do that, it affects the program negatively. It also might impact the ability of the program to take in future students, and it also doesn't look very good on me. So please make sure that you call. The basis of these assignments also is a good opportunity for you to get in the community for job offers. I mean, when people see you active in the environment and doing your assignments and acting in a professional manner, they're going to remember you when you come back for that interview. So please note that this assignment does not require parent permission. So when you're typing up your reflection and within your notes, please do not use the names or identifying information of the children or the program. So you can refer to children in your notes as child 1, child 2, etc. And you could also refer to the program just as the program. So the observation part, I have some more details for you. It talks again about how you're going to need to dedicate at least 1 hour to the observation. Make sure you take paper with you. I always suggest a pencil to write with, because that way if you feel like you need to change anything, you can erase it. You are going to observe at least 2 care routines. And in order to be successful, please make sure that you schedule your appointments during the times when those care routines are happening. For example, drop-off is primarily in the morning, pick-up is primarily in the afternoon. Diapering can happen throughout the day, but eating times typically are scheduled. So you want to make sure that you notify the program staff when you call that those are your requirements of the observation, as well as that interview piece. So the interview will pertain to care routine observations, and that's important to share as well. You do need to, like I said, have a face-to-face conversation. Do not have an email interview. So here's again some examples. I'm going to highlight those on your screen of the different routines. And what you're really observing is you're observing on how the teachers actually conduct the routines with the children. So I want you, and I have it here in the observational guidelines, to make sure you provide me as the reader a sense of what you are seeing during your time with the children, and what the adults are doing with the children during those routines. So do keep in mind that we are trying to be very sensitive to the different cultural needs of the children. So here's your questions for the interview. So you want to print a copy of this and take it with you, and make sure that you have an opportunity to be able to record notes. And when I say record, those are handwritten notes, or if you do have express permission from the person you're interviewing, they might let you tape record them. Again, just don't assume. It's their right to be able to say no to being recorded, but certainly that could be a strategy that you could use for later. So the analysis. That's what I want you to compare how the program demonstrates an awareness of the child's home culture in relationship to their care routines with their child, and how they accommodate families' expectations of routines in their early childhood program. So this assignment is really building on your first assignment where we talked about interviewing different families and how the families expressed maybe specific specialties for their particular family and how programs accommodate that. So know that this is building on, parents say this is the issue, now we need to find out how do programs handle those kinds of things. So your paper's going to be written in a narrative format. You're going to also submit typed questions that were asked during the interview and their answers, and then your typed analysis. So I'm asking here also to make sure you're sensitive and inclusive with the parents in relationship to the routines that were observed. Also that you must include in-text citation and use of course concepts to support your analysis. So you're going to submit the narrative, the questions with answers, and your analysis in a typed format, and there is a submission link within the assignment by the due date. APA format is required. That means that with your paper it will have a title page, that you will have examples of in-text citation within the body of the paper, and then any resources that you used for the paper would have to be justified in the reference page. So let's take a peek of the grading rubric. So the grading rubric, remember, is an outline of you establishing what your paper and assignment will look like. So I'm going to go over the criteria first, and then I'll go over what I'm looking for. So you can see here we're looking for an introduction, so you know that's going to be the first paragraph of your paper. I also do look at your observation in your notes, followed by the interview and the questions and the answers that you've submitted. And then we have the analysis here, followed by connections to textbooks or classroom materials. We're looking at APA and also organization. So if we go back to the first row where we talk about introduction, I do have a reminder there to make sure you do not use the family's real name. You need to use a pseudonym for that. So we're looking towards getting a 4. So details about the program were included. Information regarding the child was presented. You maintained confidentiality, and routines observed were identified. So in your introduction paragraph, you're going to want to make sure that you cover all of those areas. The observation notes that you're going to turn in, they're specific, they're clear. You gave me an examples of 2 separate caregiving routines that you observed. Details are extensive, and it gave me a sense of how the caregiver executed the routines with the child. So that's the level of detail I want in your observation. With the interview, it says here the interview was conducted and answers with many details were collected based on the assigned questions, that you also submitted the typed questions and answers with your paper. On the analysis, so the analysis compares how the program demonstrates an awareness of the child's home culture, and that's in relationship to how they conduct the routines with the child. Also that the program staff accommodates the family's expectations of routines in the early childhood program. And you gave me more than 2 examples for each. Textbook connections cites 2 more relevant sources, so you can use your textbook and at least one of the articles. Language use and format, I do allow a couple errors, but notice that title page and reference pages have to be included for most of these. You will get a 1 if you don't include those, even if you have no errors. And then organization, that your paper was well organized. So if you have any questions about the assignment, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm here for you. You can reach me at troepke@hancockcollege.edu.